From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Marriage debate. We take you to Washington, where the Supreme Court spent more than 2 hours hearing arguments on the same-sex marriage ban.
Phone fees. Arizona families trying to contact their loved ones in prison are met with some of the highest fees in the nation, causing them financial hardship.
And the youngest survivor. We introduce you to baby Oliver, the youngest person to ever accept a heart transplant, and show you the life-saving technology.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Julia Thatcher.
And I'm Jamie Warren. Thanks for joining us. It was 6 months ago that a federal judge ruled Arizona's ban on gay marriage unconstitutional. Today, advocates are keeping a close eye on the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, where justices heard arguments whether marriage can be defined as one man and one woman. Cronkite News reporter Kristen Wong has in-depth coverage on what the effects of the decision can mean, but we begin with Liliana Salgado outside the Supreme Court, where people were gathered today.
Today, the Supreme Court heard arguments on gay marriage, and hundreds turned out with banners and signs, hoping to witness the historic process. I spoke to a couple of former Arizona residents who were here to show their support.
Tambourines, colorful beards, tutus, pink eyelashes, middle schoolers, and even dogs were all for marriage equality today, including Anna from Tucson, who was here asking for one thing.
Equality for all, marriage for all across the United States.
Mainly for her to
be able to come home to Arizona, who has marriage, which is terrific, and able to protect my child, able to protect my spouse whenever I'm visiting home.
Not everyone felt the same way.
You're gonna burn alive. I understand that. You're gonna burn alive.
But opponents were outnumbered by people like Andrea from Scottsdale. She told opponents,
"You just need to take the time to get to know them and understand that they are just like you."
Baptists for Gay Rights were there with her. And others who also saying instead of fighting,
I do believe we shall live in peace someday.
But supporters might have to wait a little longer for that day.
Whether gay couples will receive the right to marry nationwide is expected to be decided before the court recesses this summer. Reporting from the Supreme Court, Liliana Salgado, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News reporter Kristen Wong was inside the court listening to the historic arguments. Kristen, let me ask you first, what was the mood like in the courtroom today?
The room was packed today. Like many of the reporters, I couldn't even see the justices from where I was sitting, but I could hear the arguments. And about 45 minutes in, a same-sex marriage opponent had to be taken from the room for standing up and shouting that supporters would burn in hell.
And can you tell us what exactly the court was considering?
The court took up 2 questions today. The first is whether states can ban same-sex marriage without violating the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. And the second was whether states that do ban same-sex marriage would have to recognize a marriage license from states that allow it.
And did the justices appear to take sides?
Surprisingly, the justices mixed it up today, with both the liberals and conservatives peppering both sides with pointed questions. Justice Anthony Kennedy, who's expected to be the swing vote on the case, clearly grappled with the issue. He asked at one point if it was the court's place to reverse a decision that has been with us for millennia, but he later noted that marriage can bestow dignity upon same-sex couples.
Thank you, Kristen.
The Arizona Department of Corrections is working on a new phone contract to drop calling rates for prisoners. Cronkite News reporter Lauren Klenda looked into what this means for inmates' families.
Arizona has the 5th highest prison phone rate in the country. The financial burden from these fees are making some families feel like they're the ones locked up.
He is a sweet guy, really great guy, but he's made some mistakes.
Shayna Pallas is married to a man who is currently facing a 7.5-year sentence in prison for second-degree burglary. But she is also facing severe financial troubles because of it.
It's a lot of money. I mean, I live with my mom.
On top of supporting herself and her 2-year-old daughter, Pallas has been paying high telephone fees, trying to keep her daughter connected to her father however she can.
Where'd Dad go? Look. That's my priority, is having them maintain as much of a relationship as they can, because they look the same, act the same. They were like best buds.
But at $6 a call, keeping that connection isn't easy.
You know, some people might not see $6 a day as a lot, but when you have an infant, you know, $6 a day is half of, you know, a pack of diapers.
And that doesn't include the fees incurred from outside services. The Arizona Department of Corrections, also known as the ADC, charges the base fee of $6, but it is currently under contract with Securus Technologies, their phone service provider, who charges an additional fee of almost $8 every time a user credits money to the inmate's phone account.
The people who can least afford these extra fees after they've already lost perhaps the breadwinner in their family or incurred some legal costs that were unanticipated. These are the people who are paying these costs.
The current contract with Securus gave the ADC a little more than 50% in commission, and by state law, all of the revenue from phone fees is to be used on inmate programming. But a new contract underway with CenturyLink will increase the ADC's commission to 93%. The ADC wouldn't give an on-camera interview. In a statement, they say the funds will, quote, help ensure a healthier fund to pay for essential and legally required programming services that the department provides for inmates.
If they go toward programs, I'm not seeing it. I know that he writes me all the time telling me that they hardly have any books in their library. He's not in any programming.
Even though the ADC said all of the money in the fund is to go towards programming, according to the department's budget, the numbers don't add up. In 2014, there was a balance of $10.5 million in the Special Services Fund. After all of their spending on programming, the budget shows nearly an $8.9 million balance.
There really needs to be a state audit of how that fund is used and some limitations so that there are only expenditures from that fund used for direct inmate programming.
Palace said she would feel better if she knew revenue was going to be completely used on programming. But right now, she says the whole process has been anything but easy.
I think that it's time, if nothing else, to stop treating the families like they're the inmates.
The new contract with CenturyLink is supposed to begin on July 1st. So far, the ADC is projecting a spending increase on inmate programming across the board. The most notable difference will be a nearly $2.6 million increase to fund work-based education for inmates. But even with a high commission rate of 93%, the only plan to put forward an extra $3.2 million, leaving almost $6 million untouched. In the broadcast center, Lauren Klenda, Cronkite News.
Children who have undiagnosed dyslexia often feel left behind and dread the school day. But as Cronkite News reporter Angie Schuster reports, a new bill gives students with dyslexia a better chance at making it through Arizona school systems.
I almost considered dropping out of high school.
Grace Taskinsoy struggled her way through school
and didn't think I could go on to college.
Grace was finally diagnosed with dyslexia in the 9th grade.
It was definitely a struggle because no one knew I had it, and I started to think I was stupid.
Grace testified before the state legislature to help pass Senate Bill 1461. The bill gives parents of dyslexic children the option to exempt their child from Arizona's Move On One reading law, which requires 3rd graders to meet certain reading requirements on their standardized testing.
It's definitely hard because with dyslexics, we're deficient almost in reading and memorization.
Another component is encouraging teachers to take dyslexia courses for their continuing education credits.
If you spot a kid in 3rd grade, which is when dyslexia starts showing up, it's amazing because it saves that entire time that children like me have been struggling.
Any of the schools, from what I've heard from the stakeholder meetings that we had, felt fearful to give a diagnosis of dyslexia.
Whitney Stein is a dyslexia specialist and director of Dyslexia Connection. She says there are telltale signs, and that if you're diagnosed early enough, you can use other means to help kids learn.
As they get older, it could be slow, choppy, inaccurate reading, poor comprehension.
It may seem like a flaw to other people, as in the way that you can't read to this certain level or you can't comprehend what you're reading in a book, but it's an accent in the way that it helps you so much through life in building your character.
1 in 5 students fall somewhere on the dyslexic spectrum, and Grace hopes that this new bill can help them. In Scottsdale, Angie Schuster, Cronkite News.
The State Board of Education voted to create a new committee that would review Arizona's Common Core standards for math and reading. The 17-member committee will oversee math and English experts who will draft the language for the new standards. This reform comes after state lawmakers struck down a bill that would have eliminated Common Core standards in Arizona.
Head Start, the National Early Childhood Education Program, is celebrating 50 years in the Valley today. Cronkite News reporter Justin McDuffie was at the celebration in downtown Phoenix earlier today and joins us now. Justin?
Alumni, teachers, and current Head Start students gathered with city officials at Phoenix City Hall to celebrate 50 years of educating young minds in the Valley.
My experience in Head Start was so beneficial because it was my first time to be in a group setting away from my mother, out of the home.
Martha Munoz is an alumni of the Head Start program and attributes much of her academic success to a strong foundation she got while learning as a Head Start kid.
How to take turns, how to listen, how to wait. Those are self-regulation skills, and those were very, very important for me. Plus, it was a positive introduction to a school environment.
While those in the Head Start system are big supporters, not everyone is convinced.
Continually, it seems that Head Start is challenged as to whether it's a good investment. But if you look at the longitudinal studies that show that, yes, Head Start does produce not only benefits for children, but for families as well.
Behind me is a wall of art created by kids in the Head Start program. Here they're not only learning about colors, but life skills for kindergarten and beyond.
How to deal with conflict, how to solve problems, how to use their words and not their fists.
These kids have already been in a classroom setting by the time they enter their first day of kindergarten and can more easily navigate those first-year challenges. It also holds parents accountable for their children and their education.
Everything about the child. If that's not enough, you have to be engaged as a parent. We expect you to be in the classroom, expect you to volunteer, expect you to be involved in your children.
The Head Start program will soon return to a full day and be offered year-round thanks to a new grant the City of Phoenix has been granted. Live in the broadcast center, Justin McDuffie, Cronkite News.
Concussions are one of the biggest risks faced by athletes on the field, but groups are making strides to ensure athletes are protected correctly. When we come back, Cronkite News takes an in-depth look at concussions and what's being done to protect young athletes.
Check Please Arizona, 8's Emmy Award-winning restaurant review show is now accepting restaurant nominations from anywhere in Arizona. So if you live in Flagstaff, Yuma, Kingman, Prescott, Holbrook, Payson, Phoenix, or anywhere in between, we want you to nominate your favorite hometown restaurant. Apply to be a guest on Check Please Arizona. Go to azpbs.org/checkplease.
Throughout its history, Arizona PBS and volunteers have enjoyed a rich and rewarding partnership. Whether answering phones during our pledge campaigns, stuffing envelopes, or assisting with special events, volunteering at 8 is fun and provides excellent work experience, team building for a group, and a sense of community involvement and importance. If you would like to volunteer at 8, or if you have dropped off our mailing list, we encourage you to call the number on your screen or go online at azpbs.org/volunteer. Thank you.
Just last week, a federal judge said the NFL would have to pay $1 billion over the next 65 years to settle countless concussion lawsuits. Now, more than ever, it's crucial to address these issues of head injuries at the youth level. Ben Marjot reports one Arizona organization has come together to help high schools better care for their athletes' heads.
A player is more likely to get a concussion from playing football than any other sport. Phoenix Christian freshman Kyle Janes beat those odds and survived his first season on the Cougars football team without incident. Ironically, his first head injury came on the diamond.
There was a ball hit to me at short, and I went to go field it in the hole. I backhanded it, and it hit off my glove, hit me right here in the forehead.
Had that freak accident occurred several years ago, Kyle's treatment could have taken a very different course. But today there's an Arizona organization called the Barrow Concussion Network, one of the nation's leaders in diagnosing and treating head injury. The network streamlines the return to play process, educates high schoolers on the dangers of head injury, and works to change the culture around concussions.
In 2010, the Arizona Interscholastic Association approached the Arizona Cardinals and said, we see the writing on the wall when it comes to concussion. Can you help us?
5 years later, the network includes a few big-name partners, including the Barrow Neurological Institute, the Cardinals, ASU, and AT Still University. At its core is a mission to educate. That begins with Barrow Brain Book, an online concussion course that every high school athlete in the state must take before being cleared to play.
We've had over 250,000 kids complete this education.
The network also facilitates baseline and post-injury concussion tests for athletes through its partnership with the AIA, the governing body for high school sports.
Okay, we're going to do it again.
The AIA's boots on the ground in this effort are athletic trainers.
I think having medical services at the high school is extremely important, and the athletic trainer is probably the best person to do that.
Your athletic trainer that's here every day at every game, at your games, at your practices, sees you on campus, gets to know you, gives the athlete that comfort level to be able to come and say, hey, you know what, I'm not sure, something's not feeling right, whether it's a concussion or an ankle sprain or whatever.
Now, not all schools can afford the luxury of an on-campus athletic trainer, but the ones that do, at least half here in Arizona, according to Dr. McLeod, put the benefits of the Barrow Concussion Network in action. In Kyle Jane's case, it was easy to determine when he was ready to return to play because he had taken a baseline test at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I took that same exact test, and actually I scored higher on that test than I scored the first time, so I came back and I knew I was 100% when I came back.
Now, Barrow isn't setting out to eliminate all concussions from sports. Stories like Kyle's prove that's simply not possible.
No helmet, no head device ever can protect you from a concussion completely.
What can be more closely controlled is the treatment and return to play process. Cardenas and his team still have a ways to go, but they believe the culture around concussions is changing at the high school level. For Cronkite News, I'm Ben Marjat.
Dr. Cardenas said he hopes that a few years down the road, people will think of concussions in the same way that they now think of heat illness. We have full multimedia coverage on concussions and more stories in the days ahead. Learn about innovative tools doctors are using to combat concussions and athletic alternatives to avoid concussions. Keep up to date at CronkiteNewsOnline.com.
A miracle in the operating room saves an infant's life. The story of how 3D printing technology and Phoenix Children's Hospital came together to complete a heart transplant on the youngest patient in the nation.
Life brings new challenges, new opportunities, and new stories of remarkable courage and accomplishment. Sharing their stories can help communities understand the veteran experience, and through Arizona Veterans Coming Home, 8 connects veterans and their families to resources and services for successful transition to civilian life. Explore some of the best resources and opportunities for veterans at azpbs.org/veterans. Arizona Veterans Coming Home, connecting Arizona's veterans to the right resources at the right time.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Woodbeck. Adverse childhood experiences can last a lifetime, but they don't have to. You can help break this cycle of neglect and abuse. Visit azpbs.org/strongkids.
Thanks to 3D printing technology, surgeons at the Phoenix Children's Hospital can assess their patients' needs before they begin an operation, giving kids a second chance at life. Cronkite News reporter Anjali Meehan introduces us to the youngest premature baby to receive a new heart.
Families of heart transplant survivors have benefited from 3D printing technology at Phoenix Children's Hospital, and baby Oliver is one of them. I spoke with Oliver's parents about the little baby with the large heart who defied the odds.
Baby Oliver is a living miracle. When doctors discovered his enlarged heart forming a clot during Kaylin Otto's pregnancy, they were skeptical of his chance of survival. Oliver's father, Chris, prepared for the worst and bought this picture frame. Baby Oliver's parents thought they would have to fill it with pictures of a stillborn.
But instead we were able to fill it with his hospital journey and some of his pictures before and after transplant.
Physicians predicted that if Otto could reach a full-term pregnancy, baby Oliver's chance of a successful heart transplant would be promising. However, her water broke at an early 33 weeks.
I woke up screaming and I just said I just lost him.
But baby Oliver continued to fight for his life. After careful consideration, the pediatric heart transplant team got together to plan a heart transplant for Oliver.
We thought, this is going to be really difficult. He's the earliest child that we knew of that would potentially have a heart transplant.
Using state-of-the-art 3D printing technology, a life-size replica of Oliver's heart was created. This allowed doctors to figure out how to fit a new, possibly bigger heart inside his chest before the operation.
And that's what we did. We put it in a bigger heart. It fit because his heart was so huge.
Oliver's mother couldn't be more thankful for the doctors and the donor family who saved her son's life.
We would have done the same. So we're just so grateful for their beautiful gift and their gift of life for Oliver.
Baby Oliver's parents have a donation account for Oliver's medical expenses set up on the Children's Organ Transplant Association's website. To send a contribution, search under his full name, Oliver Crawford. Angela Meehan, Cronkite News.
Temperatures are on the rise in the valley, but does that mean that the summer heat is here to stay? Casey Brecker has your forecast.
Summertime temperatures are just around the corner and things are really heating up here in Phoenix. Right now it's 91 degrees today and it's only going to get warmer throughout the rest of the week. We do have a few breezes here today, although that's going to clear out by tomorrow. On the east side of the state, we do have a scattered storm system here, although that will also clear out by tomorrow as well. So with high pressure setting in and those dry conditions, temperatures are on the rise throughout the entire state. In Bullhead City, we're looking at 95-degree high temperatures tomorrow, and down in Yuma, 99 degrees. Here in Phoenix especially, we do have trending temperatures throughout the week. On Wednesday, we're going to see a temperatures start to increase. It's going to be 95 degrees. On Thursday, it's jumping to 98 degrees. And on Friday, we're going to be in the triple digits at 100 degrees. So it's getting really warm just in time for the weekend. As we take a look at our 5-day forecast, you can see we do have those trending temperatures from Wednesday to Friday. As we move into the weekend, things are cooling down to the mid-90s, but it's still going to be a warm weekend. So make sure to stay hydrated, cool, and wear that sunscreen this weekend. For your Cronkite weather, I'm Casey Brecker.
Glendale High School is taking after-school programs to the next level. We take a look at the new approach that's taking students from the classroom to the kitchen.
Cronkite News is a real newsroom with real stories told by real reporters.
Bringing you the latest in all news, all Arizona.
Live in Yuma.
Live in Globe.
Reporting live in Phoenix.
Live at the Republican headquarters in downtown Phoenix.
Cronkite News directly connects the nation's capital to yours.
While Arizonans anxiously await the outcome.
I spoke to Congresswoman Kirkpatrick.
Live in Washington, D.C., Stephen Hicks, Cronkite News.
Now airing on 8 HD, this is Cronkite News.
At ASU, we believe the most important semester is the one that starts after you get your diploma, the one called life. So we work hard to help our alumni thrive, teaching them the importance of not only achieving their goals, but exceeding them. With innovative programs that embrace hands-on learning, that encourages real-world growth. Our alumni know it can be the education of a lifetime, for a lifetime. For more information, thrive.asu.edu.
Check Please Arizona, 8's Emmy Award-winning restaurant review show is now accepting restaurant nominations from anywhere in Arizona. So if you live in Flagstaff, Yuma, Kingman, Prescott, Holbrook, Payson, Phoenix, or anywhere in between, we want you to nominate your favorite hometown restaurant. Apply to be a guest on Check Please Arizona. Go to azpbs.org/checkplease.
Cronkite News is proud to join the Arizona PBS News Block here on 8 HD.
Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
Coming up after Cronkite News, it's Arizona Horizon. We'll take a look at a pivotal U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could make same-sex marriage the law of the land. And we'll find out about a new Phoenix project to help start businesses make more products from waste.
I'm Gwen Eiffel on the next NewsHour. The Supreme Court takes up a highly anticipated landmark case on same-sex marriage. That's Tuesday on the PBS NewsHour.
One Arizona high school is setting their students up for success.
Glendale High School's culinary program allows juniors and seniors to graduate with the advanced skills needed to take on a job in the kitchen.
Cronkite News reporter Nicole Stein got a chance to attend one of the skill sessions.
When you go out to eat at a restaurant, your food comes out looking almost like a piece of art. Students here at Glendale High School are learning how to do just that. For example, learning how to take this omelet from this to that. Freshmen at Glendale High School are able to enroll in culinary classes. By junior and senior year, they can join the after-school Careers Through Culinary Arts program, or CCAP.
This program allows high schoolers to get experience in the kitchen they wouldn't get elsewhere.
It's a program that's helping students gain industry certification through demonstration of industry skills such as knife cuts, French omelet technique, daily techniques that they would use out in the industry to help them gain employment.
The students are able to participate all 4 years and can advance at their own pace. But for some students, the kitchen is more than just a place to cook.
It's where I can be my true self. I love doing it. Like in the kitchen, everything else goes away, and I'm just focused, and I love doing it.
And that same feeling goes beyond the students.
To see the growth in technique and their knowledge and their passion is something very special.
By the time they are juniors and seniors, they are eligible to compete for the CCAP scholarships. Students that are one of the top 30 competitors receive scholarships anywhere from $1,000 all the way to a full ride at a culinary institute. Michaela Grooms is one of those finalists.
I got a scholarship to Arizona Culinary Institute here in Scottsdale, and I will start there in August.
Those students who don't receive scholarships are still able to pass the certification test, which helps them get jobs in the restaurant industry. In Glendale, Nicole Stein, Cronkite News.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Find top Arizona stories anytime at CronkiteNewsOnline.com.